Hi, everyone, and welcome to my first one-on-one interview with Oroco Resources. Just for context, Ian, I'm usually just a floating head barking at the camera about finance and investing for Canadians. Just welcome. Thanks for having me on. I'm wondering if you can give us a brief background on yourself and the company.
Certainly. I'm a geologist by training, but I've been in the commercial side of the business for too long now. Um, Joined Oroco 5 years ago because it possessed one of the most compelling copper project opportunities in the mining sector that I saw available globally. So joined the company and was fortunate to be able to help take forward the Santo Tomas project through to a preliminary economic assessment. So that was in the period 2021 through 2024. And what we have at Oroco is a very large so-called porphyry copper deposit. And this has over 8 billion pounds of copper equivalent. So that's copper with some silver, gold, and molybdenum. And we have put together an economic plan to develop that with an open pit mine along a steep ridge that has very, very little strip ratio, which is an important metric in mining, and will recover 5.5 billion pounds of copper, which at today's copper prices is over $25 billion in the ground value. So a very valuable in situ resource with a very, very compelling mining case. And so, yeah, that's what we have. It's what we're, you know, really excited to be able to bring to the market as an investment opportunity and as a future source of copper.
Okay, that's awesome. Thanks for that very detailed background. So I have very limited experience with the mining companies. I invested in, uh, let's say, gold companies on the TSXV. So just to give a brief background, you're the PEA. You're doing a bunch of drilling just to see if there's copper in there. It's not an open pit mine yet. So you've done drilling and it has confirmed there is copper.
That's right. That's right. So a resource statement has been put together. There's been sufficient drilling to define what could be mined. And so we've used that data to put the resource together, and then we have designed a notional mining case that could work on that project. That may not be precisely what is built ultimately. Further work can be done, trade off studies. A little more drilling is required to define part of our resource, the so called South Zone. But we have already shown that there is a case for mining and with very, very good economic metrics. The case to develop the project, I think, has been now well established. Yes, there's further work to do, but much of that relates to things like environment baseline work, etc., that will help put together a much more comprehensive view of the ultimate development case.
Okay, so just some background for myself. I was doing some research, and it looks like from initial discovery until an open pit is usually around like 10 to 15 years. Where are we in the process?
We're halfway through that rough process, little past that. Um, we need to put together a bit more detail in the study, and then there would need to be a company come together, make an acquisition, whatever that is, that would then enable the capitalization of the build. And we've timed the construction through to processing on Santo Tomas to be about 2 years. So we've got a year or so more work to do, then some transactional conditions have to come together and be met. And then ultimately, once a build decision is made, a decision to proceed with mining, it would be about 2 years for construction and through to the flow of copper into the market. So there's a little way to go, but we're through that real risk period, I believe, when the uncertainty with respect to the resource exists. We're past that. We've defined the resource. We know it's mineable, and we know where things like labor, water, etc., would be sourced. So there's a very, very strong business case. And the stage we're in now is to convert that case from this exploration situation through to a production one.
Okay, that's awesome. So are we looking for any milestones in 2025?
Certainly are. We are currently commencing with environmental work, so we're going to ramp that up. That's a precondition for permitting of an ultimate mine. We're going to do that additional drilling that we talked about a little earlier to on the South Zone. That work needs to be done. And we'll be looking to kick that off in the course of this year. And those are two really significant milestones. And I think, once we build momentum on that work, there'll be steady news flow and exciting progress as we basically complete the de-risking of the project to prepare it for development.
Okay, okay, I like it. So just I guess macroeconomic news. I'm looking at the tariffs that came online. I was looking at the stock. It looks like copper got hit. Copper prices went down on Friday, I guess like April 6th or April 5th. Copper went down 10%. Does it directly affect you or is this background noise?
More the latter. Certainly, we take a very long run view on markets. We're in the business of developing very long-lived businesses. This mine would operate for well over 20 years. So it's always everything we do is done with a fairly long-run view. Yes, noise to some extent, but I do think that just the attention on commodities in general, global flows of commodities and the sort of changing geopolitic around that really suggests how important these commodities are to our global sort of financial ecosystem. So, taken at a very high level, I think the tariffs, etc., are noise, but they betray a sensitivity to commodities in general, which perhaps hasn't been something at the forefront of people's minds in the last decade or two. And I think we see a very strong market case for copper. And as I said, our long run view is that the market for copper will be very robust. The demand for copper will be significant. And really, our focus is to put together Santo Tomas so that it can play into that market and be a robust contributor to the global copper market.
Okay, okay. That's great. It's good to hear. I personally think this is like short term or short lived. Maybe as naive, but I thought the tariffs wouldn't happen. I thought it was a bluff, and I was sorely mistaken. Um, yeah, what can I say? I was wrong. So I guess maybe my last question. If investors want to learn more, where should they go?
Well, our website is a good starting point. There is also a website at a company called Verify, VRFIY, and that is a great source for examining our project. You can interact with the data, the project conditions, etc., sort of on screen and in an interactive way. And you can also book meetings with Oroco management and personnel via that portal. And we also have some materials on our own YouTube channel, but follow us on X, LinkedIn, etc. as well. And hopefully through those media, we can keep people informed of our progress and the excitement that we see building for the year ahead.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be a little nerve-wracking because, like, I guess, like, on being listed on the TSXV, a big purpose of it is to raise capital and financing because you don't have a mine yet. There's no revenue. It's all expenses, right? For yeah,
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So we're in a peculiar part of the risk profile in the market. But I think as we've de-risked the project technically, I think the upside and the excitement sits right before us. I think we've demonstrated that we can execute on things like drill programs, community expansion, etc., growing a team. So all of that's in place, and really what we need to do is this environmental work, the balance of drilling, and deliver to the market a super exciting investment story, which I think really does sit there. For myself, I'm all in. And I know the sort of greater Oroco, all of us are right in there, and we've got an investment following that I think is regenerating its interest in what we have to support us going forward.
Okay, that's awesome. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks for watching, guys, and tune in for the next one.
Thanks for the conversation.